Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we saw earlier in the day the GSA mission statement. Are you looking at revising that, or are you thinking we're all right with what it is?
Well, I think as part of a top-to-bottom review, we should start with the mission statement and the goals. I haven't been there long enough to say whether this is the exact right one or the exact wrong one. It seems to hit many of the key points of savings and efficiency, economy, effectiveness. So I want to make sure that even if we were to change it, that we wouldn't lose those important parts.
Right, and it would be your belief that in general it's the GSA's job to get the best deal for the government and efficiently manage what the government has. So that
Absolutely.
Just broad general terms. And part of that would be taking care of tax dollars as if they were your own, or more so almost as if they were being held in trust.
Absolutely.
Great, great. Now, the title of this hearing was, do we have a culture problem within the GSA or within the broader government? And I have to say, I've worked with a lot of great government employees. I've worked with some that aren't so great. Do you think this is a cultural problem, or do you think this is more of a cancer?
Well, I think we definitely had a cultural problem in Region 9, probably tied to a leadership problem. But I can't say that I know enough about GSA to say whether we do or do not have a cultural problem across the organization when it comes to these issues. I will point out, though, I've received dozens and dozens of emails from GSA employees who are every bit as outraged, every bit as angry about what took place here.
Well, it's my hope that this is a cancer and we're going to be able to excise it from wherever it exists, be it in the GSA or any other government agency. And I think this committee has already started investigating the spending habits of some government agencies. I did want to touch on one other point with regard to the acquisition of services. In his report, the IG identified a number of problems. In fact, this isn't the first report by Mr. Miller that's raised concern about GSA acquisitions officers disclosing competitor pricing or the maximum price. And GSA officials have failed to abide by small business set-asides, failed to properly publish offerings, and omitted important federal acquisition regulations clauses which protect the government. Do you think this is intentional misconduct, or you think this is just ignorance or poor training?
I'm not sure what it was in this case, but I can tell you that I think it's unacceptable. And I can tell you that I think the GSA should be held to a higher standard. We should hold ourselves to a higher standard. And one of the actions I've taken most recently is to centralize in our senior procurement official, our senior procurement executive, the ability to grant or withdraw warrants. Warrants are the ability to actually make procurement actions. So I think we have to take a good, strong look at how we do things, how we set ourselves up, what our standards are, what our performance is, how do we create structures of accountability, and hopefully we can make the improvements to make sure that nothing like this can happen again.
And members of Congress have district offices where they hear complaints and problems from constituents. And I just in the past few months there have been an alarming number of folks who have complained about the government contracting process, not just with the GSA, but other agencies. And you ought to be able to walk away feeling like you were treated fairly by the government. As a former small business owner, I know it takes a lot of time and, in many cases, thousands of dollars to prepare a proposal, especially for a government agency. And to have your bid disclosed to a competitor, or to have your bid when it was the lowest passed over, is very frustrating to people, and ends up, especially in the case of smaller businesses, you just throw up your hands. You don't have the money to go hire a government contracting attorney. You just walk away and say, I'm done with the government. And you end up with good people who could offer products and services at a better cost, just refusing to go through the red tape. So I look forward to the GSA making that a priority to educate not just their own contracting officers, but the other government agencies that the GSA trains through the Federal Acquisition Institute. And I would appreciate your commitment to make that part of your agenda.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think you're right that government contracting isn't always easy, but it should be fair.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
The Chair thanks the gentleman from Texas.